Very good morning to you all. I'm Professor Metamidi, the Executive Director of NYU London. It's my absolute pleasure and indeed like to welcome you all to NYU London and thank you for choosing to be with us in London this semester. It is without a doubt has taken a lot of your time and planning and preparation to get this point now. And I truly hope you will have a great experience during your time in London. I would like to take this opportunity to say a few words about the study away experience. One certainly is on the academic aspects, and the other one, of course, on life experience that you'll gain during your stay in London. It is certainly important to ensure that you follow all your courses academically, but also, perhaps more importantly, take your time to learn through your life experience, living in London and learning from each other as well. During your time with us, I'd like to be thinking about a couple of points. One of them would be, what is actually purpose and value of global educational experience? And I'm sure you're going to come up with a lot of answers, particularly after a semester spending time with us. But also, what specific opportunities for development of your global educational experience are offered by your time at NYU London and, of course, in the UK. I would, however, like to emphasize that this is to ensure that we, all my wonderful colleague and myself here in NYU London, will do everything we can to give you the right condition to develop your minds and certainly to further your academic studies so that you become better informed about the complexity of being responsive and certainly responsible individual and indeed a good member of all your communities, both locally and globally. I truly hope you find the best ways to thrive and develop the semester and unlock your potential to contribute to change for the better in this world. Finally, once again, I would like to welcome you wholeheartedly to NYU London, and I wish you all the best for the weeks ahead. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the orientation program.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Rowe, and I'm the Associate Director for Academics at NYU London. The slide that you see before you represents the members of the academics team, and I think it's worth noting our names. Some of you will have met us at the welcome and the check-in process over the last couple of days and the first year orientation yesterday. The members of our team are myself, Amy, my colleague, Kate Atwell. We will hear from subsequently Courtney Hoff, Tim Glencross, Alex O'Connor-Dixon, and Louisa Hanton. So we really do hope that you will come to know us and feel free to come into the academic office and say hello. I'll tell you a little bit more about how to do that in a moment. If I could have the next slide, please. Great. Thank you. Right, so we're very delighted that you're here with us in London, and we really are excited for you to begin your academic journey with us. So I'd like to start with a reflection on studying at NYU London, what makes a London-based classroom unique. So you'll be taking NYU classes, and many of these will have a UK or a European angle to the content. You'll be taught by local professors who are experts in their field and can give you invaluable insights into local history, culture, science, public policy, and business norms in the UK. Remember, these folks are not full-time NYU professors. Most have a full-time job at another London-based university. Most of your instructors have been educated and trained in the UK or Europe. They will often have different points of reference and use different terminology when it comes to higher education. If you aren't sure about what they're saying or what their expectations are, please ask. Many have worked for NYU London for a long time, so they know the ropes. Others will be brand new, and we invite you to help introduce them to NYU. Faculty members are always happy to help and introduce you to the norms of local education. It's a great opportunity, so be sure to ask. And if anything is especially unclear, please come ask us in the academics team. It is our job to help and to translate. The second point I want to make is about the in-person experience and the 12 credit requirement. Pardon me. All our teaching in London takes place in person. There may be a few scenarios where you have some online interactions with academic instructors, such as through your office hours via Zoom, or a guest lecturer joining your class remotely, along with your usual professor in the classroom. But other than that, all of your coursework will be in person. Please remember that you must be enrolled full-time and with 12 credits at NYU London. Review your schedule and be in touch with us or the Global Academics team if you're unsure if your current timetable meets the right criteria. For students on a visitor visa, it is possible to take a remote class from New York City. However, please note that the time difference and ensure that this does not overlap with your local class times. The times will be shown in local in the local clock. So for something Eastern time, you have to make sure that you calibrate the 5-hour time difference, or also you may be taking something remotely from Shanghai or Abu Dhabi. So make those same adjustments as needed. That's really on you to double check. For students on a student route visa, it's forbidden to take any classes online or remotely. So these are for this is really for the ears of the full year students or internship students. Now, a little more about the academic office team. What's our role? How can you contact us and make appointments? So we are the folks that you saw on the first slide. We're the full-time staff, while your professors are part-time. We're the main connection between the students, London classes, and your home NYU campus. We liaise with your departments, schools, and advisors to help with all aspects of class operations. We run the local timetable, we help with Albert enrollment for London classes, and we can advise on grading, exams, Brightspace, and academic resources or materials. While your professors should certainly be your #1 point of contact, they only work part-time, so sometimes they're not immediately available to answer your questions or point you in the right direction. And that's where the academics team comes in. We're here to troubleshoot questions to do with classes like uploading assignments, details for rearranged classes, access to reading materials. We are that link between you and your professors, as well as with those 3 NYU campuses and our global office. Be sure to ask us if you have queries about any aspects of your studies, and we will find the right answer for you. May I have the next slide, please? Great, thank you. The first point I want to make is about add drop and wait lists at NYU London. So unlike at many of the home campuses, faculty in London don't manage the wait lists. So please don't petition them to just add you if you haven't been able to join their course. They don't have that power or ability to make that decision. Just make sure that if you're on the wait list, that if possible, you just hold tight and see how things go. We do find that there's a fair bit of movement across the first 2 weeks of term during that add drop period when students are still able to adjust their schedules. If you are on a wait list and you want to sit in on a class, you can only do so with the professor's permission and if there is physically space in the classroom, i.e. a chair for you. We can't allow sitting on the floor. The fire regulations and health and safety won't permit this. So do make sure to approach the professor and sit in if you'd like, and just be patient. If you have further questions about waitlists, feel free to contact Global Academics or the local academics team. Again, faculty really won't be able to assist you in that way. Now, the next piece, co-curricular trips, a really exciting part of studying away at a global site is the ability to be out and about, to be outside the classroom, to use London as your classroom, or indeed many, many points of interest in the UK. So you'll have excellent opportunities to explore London in numerous ways in those classes this semester. Please note that some of the field trips your faculty have arranged cannot be conducted in the usual class meeting time. So they have arranged alternative days and times for some special excursions. These will be noted on your syllabus. So please be sure to check carefully, note any alternative dates in your calendars, and ensure you do not book other commitments or travel on these dates. You'll be expected to attend these sessions as per our usual attendance rules. Let me say this again, do not book travel until you've seen your finalized syllabi and noted any mandatory co-curricular trips which meet outside of the usual timetable in Albert. You are expected to attend these as part of your course requirements. There'll be wonderful experiences. I'm sure you'll enjoy taking part. Now, the next point, Moses Center accommodations. We follow the same norms as at your home campus for accommodations. You will need to send through information directly to the Moses Center if you're using them for the first time. And remember to update any documentation as required for the new academic year. For upper class students, this means remembering to activate your accommodation letters in the portal for any classes you would like this term. The portal is how we operate at Global Sites. It's the same process as if you were on your home campus. For first-year students, if some of this is very new to you, please contact the Moses Center in the first instance to discuss how to activate any accommodations you may have. They'll help walk you through the process of providing documentation and approval. If you're not sure how to get in touch with them, you can also come and speak to one of us and we can direct you. Now, academic office staff assist with some aspects of academic support. For example, we provide proctoring for some students that may need extra time on exams, which is more commonly referred to, by the way, as invigilation in the United Kingdom. So we will be an additional support, working closely with your professors to ensure that any student that has accommodations is provided those in the correct way. Next, books. Fundamental to your studies will be how do you access materials that you need for your courses. So NYU Libraries, Senate House, and Blackwell's Bookshop, among others. These are the resources for your classes and the ones your professors will likely refer to. NYU Libraries has a vast array of ebooks and online journal articles for you to access for all of your coursework, and this should be your first port of call. We'll send out information via email about where to find Senate House Library. It's actually a 5-minute walk from our academic center in Bedford Square, and also how to get a Senate House library card. There are NYU London reserve materials at Senate House for some of your courses, and you can check out physical books as well as use the study space. Please note that opening hours are a little bit shorter than your home campus library, and don't stretch into the wee hours of the evening, so plan accordingly. Excitingly, this year, Senate House will also be offering an option for bookable study rooms. So if students want to come together and converse in the library space, there are rooms that you can reserve as NYU London students. So an additional benefit this autumn. You're also welcome to source required books from any bookshop in London. We particularly recommend Waterstones and Blackwell's. On LDN, you'll find a great list of bookshops in the Bloomsbury area as well. And there's many online options, of course, both the shops I've mentioned and also others which are exclusively online. Now, I just want to double check. And yes, at the very bottom there, sorry, at the previous slide, you'll see, thank you, you'll see our email alias. So as you'll see with many of the teams at NYU London, we use these aliases. The right person from the team will respond. All of us receive those in the academics team, and that's the first port of contact. That's the best way to get in touch with us. You can find the academics team in Office 202 throughout the day, and especially during the core hours of 9 to 6 p.m. during the weekdays. You can make in-person appointments or by telephone or Zoom as needed. Thank you. And now next slide. Thank you. Great. Very good. Apologies, it looks like I jumped ahead and did the Senate House bit. Apologies on the previous page, I apologize. And just to note as well, for Bedford Square, we have study space. We have lower ground floor of the academic center, has some quiet study space and computer facilities. You can book a classroom, by the way, for study space in the evenings. In the evenings in particular, we have some courses, but we have fewer courses. So that could be a nice space for you to reserve for study groups to meet as well. So sorry for the mix up there. I think I was operating on an older slide. Very good. Can you go to the next slide, please? So as you may well know, the first day of classes is Monday, September 2nd. We do have one class which is not meeting in the first week. Management and Organizations, Professor Bourne, you will have been contacted by her already about this on the Brightspace. This class will be made up, a makeup class in the second week of term on Tuesday, the 10th of September. So that's the only one that won't be meeting as per the usual timetable next week. Very good. So when classes begin on Monday, please go a little early to Bedford Square to ensure that you can find your classroom. Your professors will begin activating the Brightspace pages and providing the syllabi for your classes over the next few days. Many will make them visible only on the eve of the first class session. Please do not worry if the Brightspace page is not yet active. Some professors use it minimally and others are new to NYU London and have only just gained access to these online sites and are busy getting things ready for you behind the scenes. Great, thanks very much. Next slide. Right, then I'm going to turn over to my colleague, Kate.
Thank you very much, Amy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kate Atwell, and I'm a Senior Programme Manager for Academic Affairs here at NYU London. And I've had the great pleasure to meet many of you over the past couple of days as you've been checking into your residences. So if I haven't met you yet, I'm looking forward to meeting you over the coming semester. So I've got the fun things to talk about, the visas and immigration aspects, and also the attendance policy, which I know everyone can't wait to hear about. Bear with me while I tell you about these two important things. So the good thing is that you're here, you made it to the UK, you got across the border. What you need to do now is to remain compliant with your visa and immigration status here in the UK. So I'm just going to take a few minutes just to outline a few things that you need to be aware of, a couple of things we're going to ask you to do, just to make sure that you're compliant while you're here in the UK, and also to make sure that you can actually get back into the UK once you go off travelling. So the first thing we're going to ask you to do is, if you haven't had your passport and your visa copied when you checked into your housing over the last couple of days, we're going to need to actually see your original passport document and make a copy of it. Now, the reason we need to do this is the UK government has this thing called a right to study check. And we, as your education institution, we need to check that everyone has the right immigration permission to be here in the UK before you start your classes. And as Amy said, classes start on Monday, so there's a bit of a time sensitivity here. So if you know for sure that you did not get your passport and your visa, now we're aware that not everyone has a visa sticker in their passport, but we still need to see your passports. If you definitely know that you didn't get that passport copied when you checked into your housing over the last couple of days, we need to see that. So we're going to ask you to bring your passport into the academic office here at the academic centre, either today or tomorrow. And you all should have received an email yesterday with the times that you can come in and do that. If in any doubt, just pop in anyway, or you can give us an email. Some examples of why you might not have had your passport copied. It might have been, for example, that you arrived late to housing, and particularly with our third-party housing providers. So, for example, Urban Nest, Stay Club, you might have arrived late and no NYU staff were there to take your copy. You might have had your passport copied by the residents themselves, but they need that for a different purpose. So thank you. Oh, someone's replied there. Okay. So please bring your passport into the academic office. Also, if you're an off-campus student, we'll need to see your passport as well. So please bring that in. Secondly, another UK government requirement, they get us to do a lot, is that we are required to know the date of entry for all students on the programme. We need to know your date of entry to the UK, and you're also required to have evidence of it. So, again, you would have received an email about this. What we're asking students to do is to go to their global online portal, and you'll see on the checklists tab, so the checklist tab of your academic portal, that there's a post-arrival section. And we're going to ask all students to enter the date that they entered the UK. So that's the date you actually cross the border. Enter that in. If you have a student visa, then we are going to require you to also upload either your boarding pass, so a scan of your boarding pass, or like an confirmation of your flight time. Okay. We'll ask you to do that as soon as possible. And also, if you don't have a student visa, you can also upload a copy of your boarding pass, and that's just if you want to have a safe place just to keep that, just so you don't lose it. At least you've got a scan somewhere. Like I said, the government requires everyone to keep a copy of evidence of what date they entered the UK. We realise it's a lot of bureaucracy, but you'll really come to know that's part of British culture. We love a bit of bureaucracy. Secondly, about visas, and again, I appreciate that a lot of students here on the programme are here in the UK on visitor visas. Some students are here on a student visa, and there's also some students who are here with a UK passport. So there's going to be some differences when it comes to who is allowed to work while you're here in the UK. If you are here in the UK on a visitor visa, under no circumstances are you permitted to do any kinds of work in the UK. That includes unpaid internships, paid work, remote work. Remote work, for example, if you have a job in the United States or another country, that's also not permitted on a visitor visa. No work at all. If you have a student visa, and you will know that you have a student visa because you have gone through a very fun application process and paid a hefty fee for that. If you have a student visa, you can only work if on your visa vignette, it says that you can work up to 20 hours a week through that. If you're on a visitor visa, you can't work, but what you can do is you can volunteer through one of the NYU London volunteering programs, which are fantastic opportunities to get involved in the local community. And my lovely colleagues in Student Affairs will tell you all about that later in this presentation. That is okay. If anyone has any questions about work, you can contact us in Academic Affairs. You can pop into the office or you can pop in the chat and we'll see if we can answer that question. A quick note about biometric residence permits, BRPs. Oh, not quite there yet, but thanks. Biometric residence permits, because we often get questions about these and about if a student needs one or not. So a biometric residence permit is a visa card, like a little credit card, that is, for some students, they will use that as a visitor up for their visa for the whole year. You only need to have a BRP if you are on our program for the whole academic year. So if you're a first year student on Philo and the Liberal Studies program, if you're a GLS student or an academic year student, you will have a BRP and you would have received separate communications about how to collect that from us. If you're here on a visitor visa or one semester, you do not need a BRP. Thank goodness. A little note about travel. I'm sure many of you are going to be wanting to travel over your semester here. When you travel outside of the UK, obviously make sure you have your passport, that's a given, but also make sure that you take the letter that was given to you by the Office of Global Services before you came to the UK. If you have a student visa, that will be what's called your CAS letter. If you're here on a visitor visa, that will be your visa support letter. So make sure you carry a copy of that with you, just in case you are stopped at the border. And that's evidence as well of our NYU London support for you. That's us confirming you're studying with us, so make sure you take that. And just to note again, I know Amy's mentioned this, but I can't hammer this point home enough. If you have a student visa, under no circumstances are you permitted to take any online classes. It's simply against the law. So please don't do that. Next slide, please, Nigel. Thank you. So now I've talked about the first, the first fun thing of visas. The second thing is attendance policy. And this is connected to immigration, actually, because NYU's sponsorship or support of students coming here on our program means that attendance in class is a condition of your visa, or if you have a visitor visa, of us supporting you, okay? And the UK government is really, really strict about NYU London or any education institution in the UK monitoring the attendance of our students. So I appreciate that the attendance policy that I'll explain to you soon, it might sound it might sound a little harsh. It's because we're required by law, by the UK government, to monitor students' attendance very heavily. So I'm sorry about that, but you can take that up with our Prime Minister. I'm sure he can explain this to you too. But also you should want to go to class as well. This is, you're here to study abroad, the clues in the title. You've got lots of exciting things to learn. Hopefully everyone's ready and raring to go to class. So attendance is mandatory. And also attendance in class is also in person only. So if you're ill, for example, and we'll come soon to what you do to report your illness to us if you can't come to class, we'll talk about how you do that soon. But unfortunately, you know, there won't be any hybrid options. You won't be able to Zoom into class if you are unwell. You'll just have to, catch up in your own time. So we can't allow students to join classes remotely. And also absences in London, of course, you know, life here is going to become normalized too. Things happen here as they do when you're back in at your home campus, whether it's New York, Shanghai, or Abu Dhabi. You might get ill. There might be things that come up, for example, a family wedding, and of course there are processes that you can take to request from us to get an absence authorized. So you need to follow our procedures to allow that to happen. And I'll explain what you need to do shortly. But before I do that, just a quick note about how we at NYU London kind of approach the absence policy as well. Our philosophy, I suppose, behind our absence policy. So if I wouldn't, please may I have the next slide? Thank you. So this is our approach to our absence policy really is in 3 parts, just so you can understand it. Of course, we have the government requirement, but this also is how we approach the attendance policy. So first, trust. We know everyone on our programme is over 18. You're all adults. We understand you can make your own decisions. We trust you to make good decisions. If you wake up in the morning and you just feel really awful and you feel so bad that you can't go to class, of course, we understand that. You can decide, you know, I'm too ill to go to class. I don't want to make others sick. And you can report that absence to us. No problem. However, if we notice a pattern of absences, you know, if you start to miss a few classes, or if it's absences in the same class, what we're going to do is we're going to check in with you. And this is not about us being big brother or anything like that. It's about duty of care. You know, we want to see if there's anything going on. Do you need some support from us? Do you need to see a doctor? Can we help you, give you some resources for doing that? Or maybe there's something further going on. Maybe you're having an issue in class, and maybe you can chat to us and we can help you with that. So please don't be alarmed if we do check in with you. If we do notice a pattern of absences, we will check in. We'll send you an email. We might ask you to come and meet with us. You might even get a knock on your door in your residence. And again, that's not in a scary way. It's just to check in and make sure you're okay. And you know, maybe we can refer you to counselling, something like that. It's for your own well-being, because we do care. We care about our students, and we want you to be successful and get the help you need. But the third part of our attendance policy is the monitoring stage. And I'm sure that no one on this Zoom is going to get to the monitoring stage, because everyone's going to go to class. But if it becomes clear, if we see evidence that it looks like maybe someone's kind of flouting the attendance policy, maybe you've had a massive amount of absences, or, you know, every Monday morning class you're missing, you know, we might start to ask questions and hope that someone's not just having a nice long travel weekend. We will definitely be checking in with you, and we will be meeting with you to have a discussion. And also, if you get to this stage, we will be asking for doctor's notes to support absences. So again, just to let everyone know, just the kind of the different stages. We'll be discussing that with you further. So just how do you report an absence to us? That's important, the mechanics of it. I'll explain that to you now, if I wouldn't mind having the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So of course we have mechanisms in place to allow students to have an absence authorised. So we have authorised and unauthorised absences, and I'll come to what that means shortly. But if you want an absence authorised, if you're ill, of course, it happens. You're here for 3 months, you might be here for the academic year. It's highly likely you're going to be unwell at some point. We try to make it as easy as possible for students to report their illnesses to us. So we have an online absence reporting form specifically for medical absences. You can see the link here, but don't worry, we'll send out later today, you'll receive an email with more information about the attendance policy. All you need to do is go to that link and report your absence to us. Again, I can't stress highly enough, if we see a certain number of absences, we will check in with you just to make sure you're okay. But if you have a non-medical reason to miss class, there's also a form you can fill in, a PDF form, which you can download from LDN, which you'll soon come to know is your NYU London Bible. It's got everything you need in it, student affairs stuff, academic affairs policies. And it also has our non-medical absence form in there. And it could be, for example, that you have a close family wedding that you might want to request an absence for. We'll ask you to fill in the form, Also, send to us supporting documentation. We will also always ask for that. For example, if it's a wedding, we'll ask for a copy of the wedding invitation, your flight confirmation, and we'll make an assessment, and we'll get back to you with if your absence is approved or not. But we do ask students to not send these to us at the last minute. Please send your non-medical absence forms to us at least 7 days in advance. And I would say, particularly this fall semester, for example, there are a lot of potentially religious observances. I know there are a lot of Jewish holidays, for example. Try to think ahead. If you want to, what you can do, for example, if there are religious observances, you know the dates of those, they're not going to change. You can actually submit your absence form to us now, if you'd like to, as early as possible, and you can list all of those dates that you might need to miss class now, and at least you know that's sorted, it's all done. So things like that, think ahead, don't leave it to the last minute, at least 7 days in advance, thank you, please. And finally, on non-medical absences, it's also the semester where Thanksgiving is scheduled. Now, in the UK, we do not celebrate Thanksgiving, so therefore there will be classes on that Thursday, so we won't be authorising any absences for Thanksgiving. Please don't shoot the messenger again. Sorry, it's the UK, it's different. This is your study abroad experience, things are going to be different. So we won't be authorising absences for Thanksgiving. And finally, the differences between an unauthorised absence and an authorised absence. If you have an unauthorised absence, and this might mean you just haven't turned up to class, you haven't let anyone know, you haven't filled the form in, or you've got to a certain number of absences where we've asked you to bring a doctor's note in and you haven't, an unauthorised absence will incur a 2% deduction for each unauthorised absence from the final grade for your class for each of those unauthorised absences. So for example, if you had 2 unauthorised absences for one class, you will have 4% deduction off your final grade for class. And again, this is part of what we're required to do by the UK government with regards to absences. But again, you want to go to class, that's what you're here for. It's going to be a great semester. And the sun's shining too, so hopefully that will stay the same for all your co-curricular trips that you can look forward to. So that's it from me, the fun stuff, immigration and attendance policy. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop into the academic office, email us. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you over the course of the next 3 months, and welcome to London. And I'll now pass you on to my lovely colleague, Megan Kelly, who's going to be talking to you about counselling resources. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Kelly. I'm one of 2 global wellness counselors here at NYU London. Along with my colleague, Charlene Norford, we provide counseling, crisis intervention services, and referrals to off-campus providers. Could I have the next slide, please, Nigel? Thanks. So I just wanted to highlight the NYU London resource line. I'm going to talk just about 2 of the numbers that are on this line. If you don't have this in your phone already, you might want to program it in. I know my colleagues in student affairs will talk about this more as we go. When you call this number, you will be provided with all of these options to connect to services to connect to. This is a free call, so if you don't have a UK calling plan, you'll still be able to reach these services. The option 3 is the NYU Wellness Exchange. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute, but that is 24-hour access to counselors. Option 6 is the London Nightline Support Service, which is a phone chat service for students and run by students. And so that also is an option if you're feeling a little bit stressed out and you'd just like to talk to somebody about how you're feeling. Just to know that Nightline is run by UK students, and so they don't start classes until later in the fall. So Nightline will be available, I think, the 3rd week of September. Can I have the next slide, please? Many of you probably already know about the NYU Wellness Exchange, so I'll just talk about it briefly. You can connect to the Wellness Exchange, which is based in New York, for free confidential support 24 hours a day. You can call the resource line, select option 3. You'll be connected with a certified counselor to talk through any challenges or health concerns, questions that you might have, just venting if you need to. What will happen is you'll speak with someone in a moment to talk about how you're feeling then, and then a plan will be made with you to connect you to resources as needed following that. And if you prefer to text, you can download the NYU Wellness Exchange app, which supports chat in 6 languages. Could I have the next slide, please? Thanks. So for counseling in London, Charlene and I offer 45-minute confidential counseling sessions for free, Monday through Friday between 10 and 6 by appointment. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, you can do so by emailing us at nyul.counseling@nyu.edu. My colleagues have already alluded to LDN. There are dedicated counseling pages on LDN. There are buttons there that bring you to this email as well. You can also stop by during a drop-in hour. Initial sessions are always held in person, and then subsequent sessions can either be in person or over Zoom, depending on what's most convenient for you. We also offer a drop-in session or drop-in hour, Monday through Friday between 12 and 1. These are 20-minute sessions that are offered on a first-come, first-served basis. You can come in just to check in, to see if counseling is right for you, to see if you like the feel of the room, to schedule a full session, to check in with us about many different things. You can email the counseling alias or visit the counseling suite to request a drop-in session, or just come in during the drop-in hour. Can I have the next slide, please? Thanks. We also offer a couple of workshops. One workshop is Lunch Labs, which is an every other week skills workshop addressing common mental health issues, plus lunch. This is the schedule for this year, except we don't have one on the 23rd of April. That should read instead December 4th, I think. This schedule will be you sign up for Lunch Labs in the London Lowdown, which is a weekly email that is sent out by Student Affairs. Can I have the next slide, please? We also offer our lived experience, which is a workshop supporting students of color at global sites. This is an online workshop every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, starting 17th of September. It's designed for people of color, offers the students a safe and confidential space to discuss their lived experiences, process racism, microaggressions, and racial identity. It's run by my colleague, Charlene. This is a unique workshop in that it is offered to students at all global sites. So students in New York do not participate in this workshop, but all other students do, so you might interact with students from other study abroad sites as well. If you'd like to sign up, you can do so via email, by emailing the NYU Counseling Front Desk or Charlene's email. You can also email the counseling alias and be in touch with us that way to sign up for this group. Can I have the next slide, please? In terms of off-campus mental health services, psychiatry, psychotherapy, dietitian services, these are all available for students while studying in London. All services require a guarantee of payment, which must be secured prior to your first appointment. I know my colleagues in Student Affairs will talk more about GeoPlu and how to access a guarantee of payment. It's a pretty simple process. We want to offer information about off-campus mental health services because given the demands on the on-campus service, we are absolutely able to see people on campus, but we're not able to necessarily offer you a consistent day and time every week. So for students who would like that experience, going to an off-campus mental health provider might meet your needs better than seeing someone on campus. And if you'd like support in choosing an off-campus provider or have questions about acquiring a guarantee of payment, you can email us. You can also email us to ask about what the off-campus options are, and we can share those with you. You don't need to involve us if you don't want to, but we're also here to support you if you'd like that. Some NYU globally based services include the Sexual and Relationship Respect Service. These are services that provide confidential assistance to complainants regarding sexual assault, relationship violence, and stalking. If you'd like to access these services, you can do so through the counseling department, through calling the Wellness Exchange, or by contacting the Sexual and Relationship Respect Services directly. And just a note about confidentiality, at NYU London, Charlene and I are the only staff members who are able to receive information from students about any topic without needing to share it. Some of the other staff are mandated reporters, and so if they hear about any legal issues or sexual assault, they might be required to then pass that information on. You can always check in with any staff if you want to share something and you're not sure about where that information will go, or you can check in with us first and see if you'd like to have that information go further. On the next slide, please. There are also services offered globally, including wellness workshops. They are online workshops that are designed to help students develop new skills that enhance personal, academic, and social well-being. Workshop topics focus on a wide variety of topics, including managing anxiety, healthy dating, procrastination, sleep, hygiene. The workshops are held online and are open to all students throughout the NYU Global Network. The information on topics, schedules, and how to join is available on LDN. I would recommend them. They're great. They are a little bit geared towards Northeastern US in the time, so they're a bit late for us sometimes, but they're definitely worth checking out. And lastly, mindfulness resources. Mindful NYU hosts a wide offering of free yoga and meditation classes throughout the week during the academic year. Mindful NYU programming is offered online, so students from across the globe can participate in these drop-in classes. There's also guided meditations and other mindfulness services available online. Thanks for your attention. We're so glad to have you here. And now I'll pass on to my student affairs colleagues.
Thank you, Megan, very much indeed. I'm Nigel Freeman. I'm the Associate Director for Student Life here at NYU London. And I hope you've made a fantastic start to your semester here already. I'll be talking to you today about the Academic Centre, the Student Affairs staff, where and how to contact us, how we can support you, and also about safety, university policies, and our community. The Academic Centre is open Monday to Friday, 8 AM to 12 midnight, Friday, 9 AM to 9 PM. It isn't open at the weekends. Mail is available for collection from reception, mainly for Byron and Guildford residents. And unfortunately, we cannot host visitors at the Academic Centre. If you have mail, please go to the reception area, have a look at the lists on the front door, and tell the staff if you have items to collect. My team, who you can see here, many of you will have met at least some of us yesterday and on Tuesday during check-in. We've worked closely with Melissa, the NYU London site representative in the Office for Global Programmes, to share lots of information with you prior to arrival to help you prepare for your experience here in London. And it's fantastic to finally have you here in London after all this preparation work that you've done, that we've done to get you ready for your experience. The Student Affairs team has some great activities planned for you for your first few days here, and this will continue throughout the semester, and we'll be here to support you throughout your time in London. There are two Student Affairs bases that are essential for you to know about on campus. Both of them have open doors. You can go and ask staff any questions, come and check in about anything, find any guidance and support that you might need for any questions that you have. Particularly important, of course, in those initial days and weeks as you're settling into London, but throughout the entire semester as well. The Student Affairs office can be located in GO8 at the Academic Centre. It's open from 10 till 6, Monday to Friday. Students in residences who arrived after 2 PM yesterday can collect their Oyster card and a SIM card here on Friday. If you can't make it, then you can do so next week. Office hours are Monday to Friday, 10 to 6. We also have a team of residential support staff in the Residence Resource Centre in Guildford House residence. You'll have met some of the team during scheduled orientation activities, but also during the housing orientation session, both on Tuesday and on Wednesday. The RRC is open 10 till 6, Monday to Friday. Please come and talk to us if we can help with anything at all. You can also email us at nyul.students@nyu.edu. I'm sure you're familiar with this resource already, LDN, but please do continue to use it as a primary resource. There's a great search function, so if you're struggling to find information anywhere about something, please do use that. We have on-campus and remote IT support here for you at NYU London. We use NYU Wi-Fi on campus, both at the Academic Centre and at the Byron and Guildford residences. NYU students who've been at the university already, existing students, should just be able to connect devices without taking any action. There are also printers at the Academic Centre which you can use with your ID card and allocated printing funds, which you get every semester. The IT support office is located in room LGO6 in the Academic Centre, where you can get assistance during the daytime and weekdays, 8:30 to 5:30. For 24-hour assistance, you can call 0207 907 3333. You can also contact askit@nyu.edu for things like duo and password resets. London's generally a very safe city where serious criminal activity such as homicide is rare, and NYU's campus locations are in fantastic neighbourhoods. Crime does, of course, though, still happen in London. And as you adjust to your new home away from home, some safety tips we wanted to highlight are pickpocketing. Never leave property unattended, off campus, but also on campus. Be aware of pickpocket situations, especially in crowded areas, such as on the tube. Carry wallets and purses securely, front pockets if at all possible. Keep bags between your legs or on your lap if you have them while sitting in cafes or pubs. Don't leave them on the back of chairs or unattended. You don't generally need to carry your passport with you while you're in the UK. You may need to prove your age to enter bars and can use a driver's license with a photo for this purpose instead. Keep your passport at home, keeping it safe as much as you can. While it's not mandatory that you purchase personal property insurance for your semester abroad, we do strongly recommend that you consider it, particularly if you have, as many of you will do, expensive electronic items with you, or if you plan on travelling and with them too. CSI Insurance Agency offers a policy for students' personal items on the New York campus and also offers one for students travelling abroad. Please don't overdo it. Drink responsibly. You're all legally allowed to drink alcohol in the UK, as the drinking age here is 18. Please don't overdo it though. Excessive alcohol consumption often leads to campus issues with noise violations and student behavioural issues. And off campus can make serious incidents such as arrests, accidents, violent crimes, when travelling to international destinations and also in London more likely to happen. Disturbing the peace, lewd behaviour, littering, drinking on the street or on public transport are also considered criminal activities by local authorities. Also thinking about alcohol, and again, you're all legally entitled to drink and you can have alcohol in your apartments too. Again, drink responsibly, please. When out and about, incidents of drink spiking have been increasing in London over the past few years. Spiking involves putting alcohol, prescription or illegal drugs into someone's drink without their knowledge or permission. And potentially also a relatively recent phenomenon is injecting another person with prescription or illegal drugs without their knowledge or permission. The effect of spiking is often similar to that of intoxication, so it can be difficult to determine if the effects you're feeling are the result of spiking or perhaps alcohol. So to combat spiking, if you're out in a pub or a club, be careful at accepting drinks from people you don't know. It's best not to do so, sorry. Watch your drinks, note if your drink has been moved at all, and if so, don't drink it. Note if you or a friend or a fellow NYU student you're with is feeling more intoxicated than you should be if you've only had a very limited number of drinks, and seek support from staff at the venue. In a medical emergency, where someone you are with is extremely disorientated, sick or incapacitated, call 999 for medical support and support from the police. Please also contact local site staff for guidance and further support. We advise you to walk in groups, especially at night. Plan your journeys in advance using City Mapper and TfL's Journey Planner. Of course, you've no doubt got good route finding apps on your mobile phones too. In your residence, always close and lock your front door. Don't leave it open even just for a minute. Insist your roommate does the same, and establish rules with your roommate or roommates and suite mates regarding visitors using the residents' living agreement. which we referenced in our housing email to you recently, to both comply with guest policies at your residence, but also to make sure you're working together with your room and suite mates to establish things that you're happy with too. Good communication is key. Only use licensed and regulated taxis. Some illegitimate taxi drivers are sometimes, in fact, criminals in search of victims. If in doubt, club or restaurant staff can assist you with advising about how you can locate a legitimate taxi. The classic London taxis are optimal, which can be hailed from the street. And Uber generally is a very popular service in London too. One significant thing that is really important to flag up to you in London, you'll see from the photo on the left, is phone theft, which may or may not be something that you're familiar with in your home location, but certainly in central London, there are a lot of mobile phone thefts, and it's important to flag this up to you straight away to try to prevent any of you being victim of crime. Phones are targeted by thieves even while you're walking around, as many of us use our phones to navigate our way around and communicate on the go. Thieves target people they see engrossed in their screens, perhaps while walking around or standing to the side of a pavement, and they come by riding on a bicycle or electric bike or a moped, and they'll approach the owner, as you can see here, from behind, and they will snatch the unit from the owner's hands. Then they'll ride off quickly. They will often wear masks and dark clothing that will make identifying them challenging. To combat this, keep your phone in your pocket as much as you can. I know it kind of feels counterintuitive these days, especially as you're trying to find your way around in those first few days and weeks in London. If you do need to look for directions, just go into a shop to do so and use your phone safely there. We have a safety session built into our orientation plans today from 1 till 2 at the Academic Centre, which we will, it's in room 105. PC Phil Ecott from the Metropolitan Police's University's liaison team, who's going to be coming to campus and presenting further personal safety in London advice. So please do come along to that today. We're also offering some lunch beforehand, as if you need tempting along. A reminder of the NYU London resource line, which Megan mentioned earlier on, which links you to critical NYU and NYU London support services. You can connect just via this one number, the 0800 number, to the Academic Centre, to the NYU London staff on call. So there's always an NYU London member of staff on call 24 hours a day. During the daytime, you can go to our offices weekdays to get support from staff, but please do also use our phone number to get in touch with us if you have any urgent concerns. We also have a link to the medical centre, St Philip's Medical Centre, and also to Campus Safety in New York, who can be very helpful if there are any concerns about safety anywhere, wherever you may be, particularly when you're travelling outside of London to other locations. Students should be able to be contacted via cell phone, texting, or email at all times by NYU or site staff in the event of an emergency. This entails registering your local number when prompted. That will happen in the next few days, and making sure that you have the NYU Safe app installed on your mobile device. Please also set your location to NYU London. Students are also responsible for ensuring that all of their necessary personal documents and medication are readily available or easily packed in the event of an evacuation or relocation, which admittedly is unlikely, but it's good to be prepared. Many of you will be travelling. We've discussed that earlier, not just into Europe, but around the UK as well, maybe even overnight to go visit friends and family. Please register your travel plans with NYU Traveller, whether you're going away for a day or for longer, or whether you're travelling around Europe or not, anywhere else. When you do so, you'll receive information about where you're going, the location, including a safety report, proactive alerts and outreach if it becomes known of any local issues that you should be aware of, both before and during your trip. As well as navigating a new city and country here at NYU London, we aim to create a fantastic community on campus for you, and you're going to play a big part in how successful we can be in doing so. Our community is complex, bringing together a multitude of different perspectives and experiences, and we seek to learn and grow further together during our time together this semester by building relationships with each other, students, staff, and faculty. We aspire to cultivate a community here where we do better together and we are better together. There are a host of activities, events, and support services available to help you navigate your time here. I'm outlining key services in my slide here, and we will let you know more about some of the exciting opportunities which the student affairs team will run and offer to you as you get used to your new location, and we assist you with that in the remaining slides later on. We work with a number of student leaders during the semester who are key partners in ensuring there is an exciting and supportive community here at NYU London. We have 2 global equity fellows working with us and site staff to advance equity, diversity and inclusion and help students navigate the complexities and challenges of living in a different country and its many differences. We also have student ambassadors who work with students on their experience and support them throughout the semester. We have a Hillel ambassador to support our Jewish students on campus. And we also have peer mentors in our residence halls who support our Res Life staff with our programming and support activities for you where you live. Your peer support team will, of course, also be experienced in adjusting to life in a new city and country themselves. And they will provide some great community activities and support for you. As peers, they're a great resource for you if any issues come up. We'll share details of how to contact them in the coming days. We work together to provide resources to help you continue to learn and grow through activities and events, initiatives on campus, and through tools like the Residential Living Agreement. We shared details in a housing email yesterday, and this is a great tool that you can use to engage with your suite mates at the start of the semester. Do it right away. Talk to each other constructively, set communal expectations in your living environment. One page on LDN summarises all of the many support and resources available to you and ways to report concerns if you ever face a difficult situation on or off campus. So please do bookmark it. In an emergency, any kind of emergency, please do activate emergency services immediately for immediate support. Staff support is also available if you're in an emergency situation. Call emergency services first and then call site staff on call, just so that you can get support from us with anything that you may need, as well as emergency services. You can see the number, again, we've referenced it a few times on the screen. You can call upon your peer support team, the residence reception staff, NYU London staff, as well as key central support structures which NYU has developed: student conduct, community standards, Office for Global Programs, campus safety, wellness, Office for Equal Opportunity, just as a few examples, to best support you and each other in any difficult situations that might arise, depending on the situation and, of course, your preferences. Our staff are available to you should you experience any challenges and are here to support your growth and development. Please do report any concerns so we can support you. Bias, harassment and discrimination can be reported locally. You can speak to your Global Equity Fellows or myself as the GIDBA liaison, as well as via the central NYU bias response line. If you'd like to speak with a non-confidential resource, NYU's Office of Equal Opportunity, OEO, and the Title IX office regarding an alleged violation of the university's sexual misconduct, relationship violence and stalking policy, and the process for filing a formal complaint, there's a form you can complete. You can also, of course, speak to local global wellness counsellors, as Megan mentioned earlier on, in confidence, or with our staff privately. Please also report any concerns to staff about any other potential violations of university policies within the community. Wider NYU policies generally apply both at the academic centre and within the classroom, and also in the residence halls. NYU is first and foremost a place of teaching, learning and scholarship. We draw together faculty, students, administrators and staff in a scholarly community to pursue our academic aims. As a community, we necessarily set standards and expectations for the conduct of community members. Underpinning all of the university's conduct rules is the maintenance of NYU's academic mission, abiding by our principles and safeguarding the well-being of all community members. We encourage everyone to be mindful of the impact of their actions on the wider NYU community, to partake in activities that build bridges across differences, not those that further divide us. NYU London partners with the Office of Student Conduct and Community Standards to support the maintenance to resolve situations in which a student's behavioural choices may be negatively impacting themselves or others, utilising a range of responses. In difficult situations, whether it's a disagreement with a roommate or a misunderstanding with another student, restorative conversations can help us engage one another to resolve issues while considering the impact our actions can have on others. Staff will assist community members in resolving conflicts when brought to our attention through guidance, coaching, and other forms of resolution, such as mediation, formal conduct charges. NYU site staff working with the Office for Student Conduct team will determine the best approach while also ensuring fundamental fairness in all circumstances. Students who enrol in a programme at NYU Global sites assume the duties of citizenry and undertake an obligation to respect the culture, customs and laws of the host nation. The Studyway standard that you've all agreed to abide by affirms the expectation that students will be good citizens of their host communities, as well as their NYU communities when they study away from their home campuses. Thank you so much for your attention during my part of the presentation. I'm handing over to Tony now, who will finish things up for us.
Thanks, Nigel. Hi, everyone. I'm Tony, Senior Programme Manager for Student Life. And I would like to speak to you over the next few moments about two things, healthcare, and also how you can get involved with many aspects of our community and our city. So to start with healthcare, I'm hopefully going to say something now that is familiar to all of you, which is GeoBlue. GeoBlue is our health insurance package that covers every NYU study away student whilst they're studying away. It is a worldwide healthcare plan, which means that it works here in London for the time that you're with us in London, but it also works in other parts of the world. For example, if you go for a weekend trip to Rome or to Paris, it equally works in these countries as well. The only place it doesn't work is in your home country. So if you say from the United States, it works outside of the US, and in the US you'd have your own health insurance provision, perhaps, for example. But it gives you access to trained professionals who can support you with any healthcare need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's no prepayment required for this service. So the one thing I'm going to ask you all to do, many of you perhaps have done this already, is to make sure that you're registered with GeoBlue. There's a sort of slight activation process that you need to go through, but please ensure that you do that. And that will give you access to a card, a GeoBlue card. Now, in a moment, I'll tell you how you can access this electronically, but I quite like to actually print off your GeoBlue card. Handy when you're traveling, especially if you have problems with your phone and activating electronic devices. And it has all the information about connecting with GeoBlue on the back of the card, which is very easy, quick reference. So I would suggest that you print off the copy of your card, which you can access once you've registered with your account. I'm also going to advise you to download the GeoBlue app. This will give you access to your identification card electronically, but also gives you a lot of information to locate trusted providers, healthcare providers and hospitals, especially if you're away from London, where you might not be able to turn to us immediately for advice and help. So they'd have a whole catalogue of healthcare professionals that you can connect with wherever you are in the world. So it's a brilliant resource to have. You can also arrange any direct payments to a provider if that provider again is away perhaps from London, so that can be all organised through the app. And it gives you access to all sorts of tools, especially if you're in a country that maybe hasn't got English as the first language, or maybe has different equivalencies of drugs or medications that you currently take. So again, a very useful resource for you to have. It's quite involved, of course, and if you do have any questions, the GeoBlue website, which you can see the address there, is an excellent resource and hopefully would be able to answer many, if not most, of your questions. The resource line that we've already mentioned to you has an option to connect with GeoBlue via option 7 on the phone tree that is part there. So very easy to access GeoBlue. It's a great scheme. I think you'll feel hopefully very reassured that you've got it as backup. But to the next slide, please, Nigel. Okay, so this is our healthcare slide. Basically, this is a printout of a handout that you can easily pick up from the Student Affairs Office as a quick reference to most of the main healthcare providers that we recommend in this city. So whilst you're with us, this is the guide that you can perhaps use most and most readily. And it's got a few parts to it, so I'll just walk through. The first thing I would say is that all of this information is also on LDN, our intranet site, our Google site that has all things NYU London on there, and this includes healthcare. You can access it obviously via computer. The QR code in the corner is an easy way to do that, but do download it as perhaps one of your favorites to keep the address easy to hand, I would say. But in the case of an emergency is basically a situation where you are incapacitated. For example, you have a broken leg. If you are unfortunate enough to be incapacitated and need emergency assistance, that will usually mean going straight to hospital. All of our residence buildings are close to a number of hospitals. Byron and Guildford here in Bloomsbury would be University College Hospital, for example. Westminster Battersea will be St Thomas's, and Tower Bridge would probably be the Royal London out in East London. So very easy to access these hospitals, and you would go perhaps as a patient as the accident emergency department there. If you can't get to the hospital independently or have us assist you, you can call the number on the screen there, 999. That's our version of 911, for those of you who are familiar with that number as your emergency service number. If you're incapacitated, can't move, can't get to the hospital, an ambulance will be released to collect you and take you to the hospital, and you won't be charged for that. That's all part of our National Health Service, our socialised medical service that provides emergency care free of charge, and that's included in that. So for all emergency situations, please do let us know as well so we can support you. And again, on the resource line, option 2 will connect you straight through to a member of student life staff, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So as Nigel mentioned a little earlier, I'd have that number into your phones on speed dial. So that would be the case of a situation where you're incapacitated. When you're generally just wanting to get medical attention, see a doctor, we've got three main options that I'd like to share with you now. The first is St Philip's Medical Centre. Now, St Philip's Medical Centre is really going to come into its own when we move down to our new academic centre on the Strand. It's next door, so it's a really easy place to seek medical help of that type. You can access them by the phone number that's located there, or, and perhaps preferably, come into the Student Affairs Office sometime during the next week or so and collect one of our cards for the St Philip Medical Centre. It's got a QR code that will allow you to register with them as an NYU student, and that will just help if you ever needed their service. It cuts through a lot of the early paperwork. So try to think about that in the next few days if you can, and we'll give you one of the cards to allow you access to that. It's not open 24 hours a day. You'll see the hours there. We've also got another health centre on Harley Street, which might be closer to a number of the residence halls. So we have this as another active option. Again, it's not open 24 hours a day. Its hours are listed there, but it can be accessed via the online booking address that you see there. They will have an online booking system that's very easy to use. And both of these, you will use your GeoBlue to access the doctor, and everything's paid for, or most things are paid for, and all of the paperwork happens really in the background. So you just go straight in to see the doctor. You don't have to worry about filling forms in. You'll notice that the hours of the two centres aren't 24 hours. In fact, the only 24-hour access that you would have to healthcare would be through our hospital system if it's, say, 3 o'clock in the morning. But a good option that we've also got is the Princess Grace Hospital. This is located in the Marylebone area, just west of Bloomsbury. And that has extended opening hours both through the weekend and through to 10 o'clock at night. So if you're within those hours, that would be another good option for you. With that one, though, it's not automatically part of the GeoBlue system as St Philip's and Harley Street would be. You would have to get what's known as a guarantee of payment before you go to the Princess Grace. Now, don't worry about that. We can help you through that, but just make a note of that. So as if that became an option for you, you'd know you'd need to do that. So that guarantee of payment is just something that comes from GeoBlue, looking in the central column here, that just underwrites your healthcare, and the Princess Grace are regular partners with you at GeoBlue. It's just that there's that extra step there, and you would need to just access GeoBlue, either contacting them directly through the app's the easiest way, or via their phone number, or having us help you to do that. Now, one thing that's I'm not saying it's special in this country or unusual perhaps, is that dental care falls outside of main healthcare provision in this country. The National Health Service, which is our socialised health system, does cover dental care, but only in sort of extraordinary cases, either high-end emergencies or if you're on income support. For many people, dental care falls within the private sector, so we have to pay to go to the dentist, for example. That is also the case with GeoBlue. It's not necessarily covered by GeoBlue. So if you go onto LDN, we've got a list of dentists should you need one, but just be aware there will be perhaps a user fee if you do need to use the dentist here. It's a common thing for everybody in the country. Sexual health, there's a couple of resources there. The primary one being the St Philip's Medical Centre. It offers a broad range of services. You'll find out if you visit their site. One of them being sexual health. But there is another centre in Soho, just off Tottenham Court Road, the Mortimer Market Centre, which is also offers confidential and free sexual health advice. So that's much of our standard healthcare setup here at NYU London. Wanted to just mention in passing, though, a couple of generally available resources generally available to the public. The National Health Service has a phone system called 111 that if you've got a healthcare question, maybe don't want to necessarily go to see a doctor, you just want to get some help, this is what that service is there to do. It's manned or personed by medical professionals who can dispense general medical advice and talk you through the options you might have when seeking perhaps deeper advice beyond just an initial conversation. They can be contacted online, but most people just dial 111 and everybody knows to do that and it gets straight through to them. So that is a good resource. If you just got a question about how you're feeling and just want to talk to somebody sort of briefly, it's a good little system. Similarly, our pharmacies also are able to dispense basic medical advice. This might not be a feature that is common around the world. It certainly happens here in the UK, and Boots, which is our biggest national chain of pharmacies, they can dispense medication up to a certain level in a way. So anything that's, say, a headache or a gurgling stomach, something that you know is not too serious, and you probably don't want to spend the time going to see a doctor. Many British people will just go to the pharmacy, and Boots will be able to dispense the medication that you would have got from the doctor anyway, but we'll do it very quickly over the counter, and it won't cost you much money at all. So a suggestion, an idea, especially we're all busy, and that's the way that the Brits tend to do it, is we'll tend to use Boots, perhaps as you would maybe use a doctor in your home country for those simple types of medical inquiries. Just finalising, or finishing, I should say, on this slide with mental health, I should say. We've already met with Megan, who's mentioned her services, or the services that she and Charlene coordinate here on campus, and also introduce you to the Wellness Exchange, the NYU-based service that is obviously offered across the NYU system. So a service that you might already be familiar with, but again, gets you to mental health professionals 24/7 via the phone number or via the app. Now, if I can ask Nigel to go on to the next page, please. These are 3 apps that we've already mentioned, but I will ask you to download, please, because they're so useful for your time that you're with us. Safe NYU, we've spoken of. It's a great resource for updated news on all things NYU as regards to safety. So it will send you alerts for all sorts of things if there's bad weather on the way or whatever it might be. So as you're aware, great resource. Do please download that. GeoBlue, we've just spoken about. That will give you access to the world of GeoBlue services. And then finally, the NYU Wellness Exchange, which will connect you with the support that you might need in the case of a mental health, particularly a mental health query. So those 3 apps are the apps I would suggest that you download. Thank you, Nigel. Next page, please. Okay, so we are going to change tack, and we are going to talk a little bit about getting involved, how you can get involved with our culture and some of the services that and societies that we coordinate here in student life. Well, our biggest program is called cultural programming. Basically, cultural programming is sort of aimed, I suppose, at giving you, the student, most of our students come from outside of the UK, of course, a broader sense of British culture and life in this country. We typically look to organise a series of events each semester that will give you a slice of British life, should you wish to join us, and to engage, I suppose, with British culture from a first sort of hand experience. So being part of a crowd at a sporting event, or going into the English countryside on a hike, these sorts of things are very much part of what we try to bring to you, so you have this sort of visceral connection experience of British culture. It also complements many of the themes that we've spoken of already, or at least our academic colleagues have spoken about already. You might remember that Amy mentioned their programme of co-curricular visits. These are visits that are connected directly to the class that you're studying. But our programme, we can call it extracurricular perhaps, very much connects with some of these general themes. We know what's going on in class, we know the classes you're taking, and we try to complement what you'll be experiencing in class with visits that will help. So for example, I'll just pick an example out of the air perhaps. Shakespeare, many of you will be studying Shakespeare whilst you're here, and why not? It's obviously a very really relevant thing to do here in England. Well, we'll take you to the Globe Theatre. You'll see Shakespeare's play in the theatre that he had in his mind when he was writing that play. So that sense of being in that wooden O that he speaks of, it's extraordinary. That's what really cultural programming tries to sort of really hit as far as targets that we aim for. So what have we got planned? That's the important thing. Well, this semester we've got 30 separate events that we offer to you. These can range from day trips. We've got day trips to the Cotswolds, Brighton, Bath, Dover Castle. There's a picture there on screen of Dover Castle, Stonehenge and Salisbury, the Cotswolds, and a hiking trip that we have planned for you to join. We've also got tickets to a sporting fixture, top rugby game, Saracens, who play in London. We've also got tickets to big West End theatre shows. So if you want to go to the theatre sometime whilst you're with us, we've got about 8 different shows that will be part of our package. Walking tours, we've got afternoon tea. As I say, a whole range of things that we've chosen to try to connect with aspects of our culture. So how can you find out more? Well, you'll find out more later today. My colleagues in the Student Life team will send you an email. That email will list all of our activities and the dates that they're offered. So do check, please, that you're free to do the activities that are offered. You haven't got a class conflict or you're off to Amsterdam that weekend. So make sure that you're free to do them. And you have, each of you, choice of 5 of those 30 activities. So you'll see on the sign-up sheet when it is delivered to you on Sunday night, you'll have 5 options of your 5 favourite trips to do. So everybody gets a choice of their top 5. Now, sign up will open at 9 p.m, very specific time there, on Sunday evening. So this Sunday, 9 p.m, we open the surveys, and it is a first come, first serve. So do be there ready with your finger poise on the button to go. And the surveys do fill up quite quickly, but we do run wait lists. Now, this is part of the sort of experience that we have of running these trips. People will sign up for them now, and then perhaps 2 or 3 weeks down the track, their friends are going to Paris for the weekend. They can't go to Canterbury or Stonehenge or wherever it might be, and they will drop out for that reason, and that releases a place onto the trip for a person on the wait list. So even if you don't get one of your first 5 at first asking on Sunday night, don't worry. It always works out in the end, and everybody gets to go on the things that they want to. But 9 p.m. on Sunday is the time when you get a chance to sign up. So look out for the email today. If it doesn't come by the end of today, send an email to the Student Affairs office and make sure that we get it to you tomorrow, so you've got it ready for Sunday. So look out for the email coming later this afternoon. With that done, I'll ask for the next slide, please. Okay, so how to get involved, how to perhaps pursue some of the interests that you might already have coming into NYU London, or develop some new ones. Well, we're looking for contributing reporters on our Bedford Square News. This is our student-led newspaper, and we will print up each semester usually a magazine version of this, where people can feature things that are of interest to them and they want to bring to the world. So this could be travel, it could be restaurant reviews, it could be theatre reviews, sporting discussions, whatever it might be. We'll gather a team of budding reporters together over the coming days to become part of our editorial team. So look out for news on the Bedford Square News. Next slide, please. We also have a number of student groups that we would like to invite you to consider joining. We have a number of representative students that are connected to important issues, health and well-being here on campus and in our community, and also environmental issues as well, a green rep. So if you're interested in both or either of those issues, want to be part, join the sustainability club that we have here at NYU London, let us know and we can put you in touch with like-minded people and get some work within those particular interest areas going this semester. Next slide, please. Student Union. Now, if you go to a British university, British student perhaps, the thing that you will be looking for, perhaps most of all, as you go to your Freshers' Week, is to join the Student Union. The Student Union is the centre of life at a British university. It coordinates all of the activities for that community, whether it be sports teams, whether it be cultural activities, whether it be gyms, whether it be restaurants. Everything radiates out of this central body, the Student Union. And we've been invited by our friends at London School of Economics to have NYU students join their union. So one of the challenges that sometimes we have at NYU London is that we have students from all over the world, of course. Probably come from many countries yourselves. not many British students. So how do you meet British students? This is the way to meet British students, to come and join their union and get involved in their clubs and their society. So even though we have our own clubs and societies, you've got a whole host of clubs and societies at LSE, 300 of them. You can be the Harry Potter Society, that can be the chess team, debating club. It's almost endless. I'd invite you actually to go onto their website to just see the range of things that you can do through them. Now, we have been invited to join in what they would call a visiting member. Your NYU card, your ID card, will give you access to all of this world of LSE Student Union facilities. So we have a meeting planned with them this afternoon. You've probably seen this in your orientation schedules, but this afternoon I'm going to invite anybody who'd like to come with me on a walk down to LSE, viewing the new academic centre on the way, leaving at 2 o'clock from the main academic centre here at Bedford Square. And we will meet with Grace and her team, who Grace is our rep at LSE Student Union, and she'll tell you all about the Student Union, how to get involved, and what a great opportunity it is in many ways. Their gyms are the cheapest gyms that you'll see in London, going to be next door to our academic centre, so very easy to access. And again, it's going to be where you're going to meet the Brits. So you'll be in the gyms with people from the UK. So that's a great opportunity there. Anybody who's interested in music, they've got practice rooms. So again, we can pursue that type of activity through them. So strongly encourage you to join the LSE Student Union. We're going to cover your membership cost. There is a small cost for that, which we cover, but you will then have a user fee. This is common. It would happen if you are an LSE student. To join the Harry Potter Society, it will usually be £2 or £3, and you'll pay that when you join the club through the online portal. And that will go towards club funds, so they'll be able to take you on sort of Harry Potter walking tours or whatever it might be, using that money. So it's all fed into to the society. So a great opportunity for everybody, and one I would strongly encourage you to do. Just if you want to have fun and meet British students, it's a great way to do it. Next slide, please. This is the final slide, and it's really a reach out to everybody to join one of our affinity groups. This is an initiative that was NYU sponsored, so centrally sponsored, but we support here at NYU London that helps us to have students connect with like-minded students. So this could be across a whole range of things, LGBTQ plus, for example, communities, people of colour communities, all sorts of diversity and inclusion opportunities to really connect with people that want to explore our city in the same way that you would like to. So the QR code is on the bottom of the screen there, and you'll be seeing posters around the academic centre with the same QR code, but inviting you to meet and befriend fellow students and to join those affinity groups. So just a little shout out for that. And I think that ends our presentation. Nigel, do you want to say a few last words?
Thank you, Tony. We will share the presentation, which we've been recording, for you to have a look at. You can have another look at this glorious last 90 minutes, if you so wish. And we'll also share the slide deck as well. But again, anything that you have questions about, first few days, weeks, all through the semester, the staff here that you've met this morning are all available for you, all available to help you. So I think we should finish up at this point, and also just to say, have a fantastic semester here. Our goal is to help make sure that happens. We look forward to seeing you on campus in hopefully today and in the coming days. Thank you so much, everyone.